Hey, everybody. We are Rolling Live Studios in Studio City, California. I'm really excited to be here with a very good friend of mine. I would actually call him a great friend. We've known each other for quite a few years. He's done an incredible show that's been recognized by Rolling Stone, and so many other people have talked about how his actual show that streamed during the whole pandemic is definitely one of the best ones, and I happen to agree with him right here. So he's got a new record coming out on September 24th, which is called Sad and Beautiful World, and I'd like to welcome my old friend Jesse Malin. Jesse, good to see you, man.
Hey, Matt, good to see you.
You know, we go back all the way back to like New Jersey. My days, like when I first discovered you, it wasn't in the Heart Attack days. It was actually, I knew about the band, but I discovered you with Degeneration,
Right.
and the first single came out, right?
There's No Way Out in New Brunswick. I think we were playing the Court Tavern, and then, I don't know, we went with you to some other bar you were DJing at. It's a little vague, but I remember you were really supportive and excited, and not that many people were of that band at that time, so it was like, oh, this guy gets it, you know?
Yeah, it was great. We played you on the radio station. There was an alternative station called HTG in Asbury Park, and we played the hell out of the record, and also in the college station there. But it's great. And going back, then our friendship went through the Degeneration days, and of course, as soon as you went and became a solo artist as well, it's incredible, just the journey that you've taken, and. You got this new record coming out called Sad and Beautiful World. I love that it's a double, and I love that there's two aspects to this record.
Yeah, I'd never done a double record before. I've done a lot of things, but also I think we had a little extra time to write a few more songs while we were kind of trapped during this pandemo thing. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a concept in a way where one of the records, if you get it on vinyl, like some of us still enjoy the vinyl.
Yes, we do.
It sounds better. It's warmer for. But one is more like a roots side, like an Americana side, and one is more of a rock side. We're kind of joking, calling it roots rock radicals,
Yeah.
And it's kind of split it up that way, and it's always been. Since I was a little kid, I always loved like songwriters, like we've talked about, like Jim Croce and Elton John, and and people like that. And then I always loved bands that really played more full tilt, more like midnight kind of sounds at night. And I was like that combination. I was always a fan of groups that weren't afraid to break it down really soft and not be afraid of the ballads as well as the rock songs. So kind of figured out a way to make that work in our live shows after a lot of years where it's like, oh, we can kind of do both kinds of music, but country and western, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But somehow on this record, it was able to fit into the thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I love that you mentioned Jim Croce because he's so underrated because those album tracks on those records were absolutely amazing. He's one of those guys that never gets a lot of
he's
credit.
a great
he deserves.
lyricist, and there was something just like fast, like a kind of Chuck Berry, the way Chuck Berry really describes things and has great imagery. And the characters in those Jim Croce songs are messed up people. Some of them are a little like superheroes, but a lot of them are like, guys living in a welfare hotel, or even bad Leroy Brown. Like as a kid, I was like, wow, there's a dog yelling. There's all these things going on in this song, a junkyard dog. What is that? That sounds scary,
Yeah.
But when I was a kid in the 70s, the greatest hits of Jim Croce would play a lot in people's houses, in my father's car. And it made me want to write songs. When you hear that, you're like, wow, that's like a little movie, this 3 minutes. So.
And you become so good at that, which I think is one of the things that people have been really attracted to your songwriting, for such a long time. And,
Thanks.
The Fine Art of Self-Destruction, when that album came out, I mean, it was really incredible. It really lit a fire under people, and it started to build this fan base that I felt as a songwriter that you always really deserved. Talk to me about what that period was like for you when you saw that your songs were really starting to connect with people.
Yeah, it was really different because in Degeneration, we didn't think that we weren't out to write like songs like any dumb rock band, like about cars and girls and your penis and tits. It was social kind of lyrics that, meant something to us, but you couldn't really tell that in the press. They just wrote about the shoes and the hair and, compared us to like, more glammy, glittery things. But when we played live, if it wasn't in a major city or we were opening up for groups and, arenas or whatever, it was more about people just moshing and being in a pit, and they never really paid attention to the songs. So even though we had lyric sheets, and even though I tried to say some bits between songs on stage, I always felt like the band was really misunderstood. And then when I made Fine Art of Self-Destruction, It was like a time in the early 2000s where like singer-songwriter or something was kind of in again, and that was all right, I guess, because I always, like I said, liked those storytellers. I always felt there was a direct line between punk rock and a troubadour kind of person, you know, three chords and some attitude and a message, from Johnny Cash to Joe Strummer or Woody Guthrie to, you know, whatever, Crass or something.
Yeah, right.
But I felt that, and then when I did my first few gigs as a solo guy, I was really scared to be a solo artist under my own name, because in a band you could hide and be with the rest of the guys. It's a gang and it's wonderful. But if you're alone, and I was just like, you know, wasn't that old then, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like have a mustache and it's Jesse Malin and it's gonna be very adult. But I realized a lot of my friends were being themselves and it was okay and it wasn't as corny. And then people were listening to the songs, and you know, I'd write these songs, and we'd go around the world. You write a song in your little apartment, and next thing you know, you're in Europe or Russia or, you know, Finland, and people are talking about the lyrics and singing them back. And it seemed to be like a way where it was finally getting heard. The stories, not just, it wasn't about the bit and the fruity pants or whatever. You know?
Yeah, it's good that it was. I mean, and it's amazing the incredible fans and that were artists that came out in major support and have been your friends ever since. Let's talk about, you know, you spending time out here in Los Angeles. Sunset Kids was such a great record, and you ended up doing that. Speaking, there was the connection back to Degeneration with your producer.
Yeah, well, I guess what had happened was I was out here playing like we did last night. I was at the Hotel Cafe.
Yeah.
Some things don't change, but it was good last night there, actually. We had a good time. And we were competing with all the bands, you know. So, so I was playing there, and Lucinda Williams came with her husband, and we had been friends for a lot of years. I initially started as a fan of her music. I heard her on a Steve Earle record called I Feel Alright, and he had a duet called You're Still Standing There, and this voice just popped out. And in those days, in the mornings, I would wake up and I would talk to Joey Ramone. The Ramones were kind of at the end there, and they were done, and he would just wake up jacked up on coffee. You know, he's a sober guy at this point. What are you listening to? What do you got? What do you like? And I was like, I heard this woman, Lucinda Williams, and he's like, yeah, I know her. I'm like, how do you know? He goes, yeah, I was on like a songwriter panel, like Vince Scelsa or somebody, writers in the round, and he's like, yeah, she's great. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to say that, you know, but that's Joey. And I went out and bought all her records, and I was just a fan of her storytelling, her writing, her voice was so unique, and it was like a rock and roll connection, even though it was kind of roots. We eventually met at a Charlie Watts jazz gig at the Blue Note.
Yeah.
And we realized we had the same birthday, and we just stayed friends. So she came to this gig, and there was a Rolling Stone writer there, noticed that she was writing on the bar during our set. And she calls it her desk. She gets some lyric ideas, whatever. And that was at Hotel Cafe. And so then the journalist had an idea for me and Lucinda to do an interview, like to artist kind of thing, and just talk about stuff. Her being from Fayetteville, Arkansas, or somewhere like that, and me from Queens. And we did this thing, and at the end, I think the journalist said, but what about a collaboration? I never really thought about it. Like, yeah, maybe. You know, we just like talking about life and music and how similar and different our worlds were. And then she invited me to come out here to California to see her open up for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I went, I could make it, I went with my manager at the time to the last show. It was a Monday of this end of the Heartbreakers tour. Now, none of us knew this would be the last Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers gig. We went out there, it was Hollywood Bowl, beautiful night, and one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. The Heartbreakers were on fire, and there was some kind of magic in the air, and Lucinda was wonderful. She played an hour. And we went out the next night and just got this idea about her producing and her husband making this record. And we talked, and we had a plan to try it out. A week later, Tom Petty was gone. It was the same day as the Vegas shooting. It was a really messed up fucking day. And so the project got held back. And then around Christmas time, we decided, like, she had been working with a guy named David Bianco, who was an engineer producer. And of course, I knew him because he produced the first Degeneration record on EMI, and so that went full circle. But David also had done the first Danzig record when he worked with Rick Rubin, Mick Jagger solo record, AC/DC. He worked on Wildflowers, which me and Derek and some of the guys in the band were really thinking about when we made Sunset Kids. So it was just like this crazy circle. Me and Lucinda had these connections. She had played in my hometown in 1979 of Flushing, Queens, and took the 7 train, and now here's David Bianco. So we came out around Christmas because Lucinda, like myself, sometimes gets the holiday blues, so let's just work on Christmas. And we stayed out here, got an Airbnb, and we did about 5 songs from Sunset Kids at Dave's Room in North Hollywood. It was me and Derek and Randy came out, and we just said, let's just see what it's going to be like, And we did a lot of the record here, and unfortunately, at the end of that, David passed away. It was a real sudden, strange stroke or something, and really sweet, kind guy. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the other records he did, Teenage Fan Club, and I think the Posies, and like I said, AC/DC, but like a crazy discography, The Damned.
Yeah.
And he had a great thing, and he had his own special little room. It was like a place where he could work. But originally we worked with DJing with him at Electric Lady, and it was like funny. But he hadn't changed that much. He still was the same easy guy, so I felt very comfortable with him. And then Lucinda, she's one of my favorite writers and singers, so it's like, I better up the game here, and really, came in with like 25 songs, and we really tried to really, give it our best, because we knew we were working with somebody. Suddenly it's not your friend anymore. It's like, oh shit, that's Lucinda. She wrote Drunken Angel. Watch out.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote Joy, but and she sang a little bit with us too, which was really fun, So
That's great. Last time we were together out here was at the Gates of the West, the Joe Strummer one. I remember when the first one was done. I was involved with that with you back at Bowery Electric, where you've done a lot of these great, amazing live streams and your shows with Rolling Live, which, by the way, can I just tell you how great that was? Was that really cathartic for you? Because you got so many of your friends involved. The performances were great. That's why it was definitely one of the most popular and most celebrated regular live stream shows, through Rolling Live here. And you got all your friends, people that you love and that you admire.
I wanted to make it like a variety show. I didn't want to be like some guy that's like moaning into his laptop, all emoed out, and here I'm in my house, there's a pandemic, and I'm depressed. But it started with the iPhone, and I remember talking to Carrie Brown, who I just met. To have a friend was a very science fiction thing for a year and a half that you talk to maybe 10 times a week and never met in person till about an hour ago when I showed up here at this studio. To go, all right, the lighting's like this, and move your gaff tape, makeshift camera boom here, which is my iPhone on a chair, and get it right, and putting it together. But I didn't want it to be just music, so I wanted to have conversations with other artists and actors, and I also would recommend movies and books and throw things around my apartment. So it was kind of like Mr. Rogers meets like Uncle Floyd, or a punk rock show or something, and a kiddie show. But it was a fun thing and helpful to talk to other people, to see what they were going through during this time, and how they were coping, and how they were staying inspired or not, and have that. And I'm not like you, I don't really enjoy interviewing people, but I'm a fan, so it was fun to talk to the movie people, because I like to talk about movies, and they want to talk about music, but it was neat, and it was a thing at first. It was very scary just to play the cameras and not feel or hear any applause. I would finish a song. We'd just been on the road for like 6 months, and then we come home, and it's like I'm in my house, and there's people banging pans at 7 o'clock, and there's sirens, and people are dying. It was really heavy, and I'm in the heart of downtown New York. But after each song, it's just like, take a breath. Okay, here's another song. There's no real like boost of that energy. But after a while, I would compare it to a scene in this movie, Wings of Desire, where Peter Falk says to this angel, he goes, I can't see you, but I can feel that you're there, and you could feel the people, and I'd look at my phone and be like, 9,000 people are going to watch. I have to hit this button, and then I'm here in my house. So it grew, and we took it into the Club Berlin, which is my friend's bar next door, in the next building, basement. And then we took it to Bowery Electric, which is one of my clubs, and it's just expanding. And the folks at Rolling Live would, push different things for us, like get sure there's a chat. And my stage manager, Harry, he couldn't tune guitars or do anything. We weren't working, so he's doing the comments. And then, everybody kind of got involved. And then we could bring people. First, we couldn't even get together, the band. And then suddenly we got together at 6 feet distance with masks and "Don't touch me, I'm new wave." And then it loosened up. and people came on, and different guests, and I remember we had our first guest come and sing with us, and then, you know, whoever was around, we would try to do it. The guy from Run DMC came, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, so we got through it. I never thought that this would be something I'd ever want to do. I hate technology. I don't like, you know, I like to play to live audiences and, you know, work up a sweat. But somehow we got through it, and it was something to see. Kerry just told me we did like 30 shows together, and that's before we even, you know, we did more before that. So I don't know.
It's amazing when you think about it. It's incredible. Speaking of doing those shows, I was mentioning when you do the Clash thing that you did on both coasts, which has always been so great. I remember when we did the first one together at Bowery Electric, and that just expanded. The Bad Brains one that you did.
Actually, Todd put that one together, I think.
Todd Youth, right? Did? Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
And we're going to talk.
And HR from Bad Brains was there, and we're doing a tribute to the Bad Brains. And I got to go sing in front of fucking HR. And he's standing there, and I'm like, I got to sing this song. And there was a line in one of the songs, I did a song called We Will Not.
Yeah.
And on one lyric sheet online, it said, Mr. Reagan, your kingdom is doomed, or something. And then an alternate different lyric of the same song said, hey, Mr. Bacon. And I said, is it Reagan or Bacon? And HR said, it's both. And I said, I get that. I know what that means. Yeah, I've done that. And I was like, okay, thanks. And he goes, get on.
I remember HR was so funny that night when we were at the show. He put, like, they asked, remember we asked who he wanted to be on the guest list, and he put Barack Obama on there. Like he was going to come to Bowery Electric. I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
HR is great. Speaking of that, we can, you know, we should talk about the new album, because there's a great song. Todd Youth, you said, put that together, and I'll never forget that night. Todd, you know, playing with you as a band member, as a friend and a brother. You know, I know how close you were with Todd. You know, I didn't like you knew Todd. At least I got to perform.
Well, Todd Youth, for those who didn't know him, is in a million bands, and he started in hardcore at age 11, Agnostic Front, Warzone, Murphy's Law eventually. So he's like one of those fathers of New York hardcore, and became this really wicked, crazy, fast guitar player, you know, like Dr. No of Bad Brains.
Yeah.
And then from that, somehow after Murphy's Law, I mean, he tried out for a lot of other bands and did a lot of the projects, but he ended up in Degeneration on our third record.
Yeah.
And those are the tours we did with Green Day, and we got to know each other. And I'd never been to Europe, so I was roommates with Todd. And he was wild, and he taught me a lot of things. We went to Amsterdam, and you know, it was like things I had never experienced before. And he kind of knew, and he'd have signals in the crew how to, you know, take care of each other. He says, we had this in Murphy's Law. If you go out and you're at a place that really sucks and it's crowded and loud and you want to get out of there, just go like this. Means we're going to cut out.
Yeah.
We're cutting out. And then you knew when you left from across the bar. And then he goes, if you're really fucked up and you need to be carried out for another city, you do this. So I learned different things from Todd. And he always had a Krishna kind of consciousness, because a lot of hardcore guys found peace. I guess the Bad Brains had Rastafari, but you know, some of the other kids got into Hare Krishna. It had a vegetarian thing to it, and reincarnation, and you know, spirituality, and some peace in there. So we would go to all the Govindas and all these Krishna places around the world and get like the really good veggie, you know, I'm vegetarian buffet. And we just had a lot of fun. And so then he left, well, Degeneration broke up, and he made a band called Chrome Locust, which was a great rock band. And then he ended up in Danzig, and he moved to LA, and he took Howie Pyro, and he was in Danzig. And then from Danzig, he went from like Glenn Danzig to Glenn Campbell. And I'm like, who does that? You know, only Todd. And Todd would leave your band, or sometimes I guess even relationships. He wouldn't say it's over, or I'm out, or I'm quitting your band. He'd just be gone. You'd find out, like, oh yeah, he's on a plane. He's playing with the Chili Peppers, or like. So in the song I have, it says, "I never say goodbye. It just ends." But Todd had a super talent, and he also played with Motorhead for a little bit, and Ace Frehley. But we had a funny time where he came back into the band when I met Derek, St. Mark's Social, and Todd was doing those tours, and he took the ad out that found Derek. But we played a lot, and then. He got messed up into the drug thing. There's no way to hide that truth, you know, and he OD'd, and the song is sung from his perspective. I don't think he maybe expected to die. Was it fentanyl or one of these drugs that's just super strong, and so the song is sung from the perspective of his last night on the planet. But when he passed, his favorite group was the Bad Brains, so we threw him a a memorial at the A7 Club, which is now Niagara.
Yeah.
This bar that I have, and his ashes, he was cremated. They put on the Krishna tree in Tompkins Square Park, and the other ashes, the other half of the urn, went to a river, Ganges River in India. I think it's one of the holiest rivers in the world. And so that night, not only did we put the ashes on the tree with some of the Bad Brains, we went inside, and some of my band and some of the Bad Brains did a lot of Bad Brains reggae songs, and just tried to give Todd the send-off that he would have maybe appreciated. And a lot of that kind of is in the song in a funny way. But yeah, he's a character, troublemaker, but a good guitar player. He'd go into Guitar Center, and he wasn't joking. He goes, "I'm going to smoke this guy, watch out." And he was so competitive, I don't know. And he'd turn up the amp and start doing a whole, and I'm like, are you like being funny here? Is like Andy Kaufman or something? He's like, "No, watch this. I'm going to wreck this guy." And I'm like, I'm out of here. It's not sports, but having such an ego like that in a thing, it really it got him through.
He was amazing. I'm so glad you paid tribute to him in the song. And it was really nice. I got to sing in the city with him that time at that Bad Brain thing. It was a non-Bad Brain song. It was a jam song.
Wow, you did that. That's wild.
It was fun. But also, the fact that, you were talking about him playing with Glenn Campbell, and I remember being in a hotel and seeing later with Jules Holland and going, holy shit, it's Todd Youth. He's playing with Galveston, and it was great.
Yeah, he's playing the baritone guitar.
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing on PBS right now. They reran some kind of legend series, and they're showing one of the concerts of Glenn Campbell, and it's one of the concerts that Todd's on guitar. Somebody watched it. I saw it on my social media thing. I saw Todd the other night, but I got to check it out. So he played with Cheap Trick. He'd get a lot of work out here. L.A. worked out, for a while for him to be a place where he found a lot of session work and stuff too.
Yeah. Let's talk about some more songs on this new record. I'm excited. September 24th. I love State of the Art because you made that available early. Talk to me about that song.
That was one that, a lot of stuff was written, I guess, in my kitchen because it's always a good place to cook up a song. I had gone through a breakup right at the top of COVID with this gal, Davy, that I'd been with for a bunch of years. And it was kind of really about her, but, she also was out in the streets getting involved in, after George Floyd and so many things, really protesting, which is right outside my window with all the stuff going on. And it just felt like, I didn't want to make a COVID record per se. It isn't, I don't think this album is, but it's impossible to write a record during that time and not have the outside world kind of break into what's happening. And I think when I look at, even last night we played a show, and just thinking, I had dinner with my friend, and we're both sitting there with masks, and that we would fast forward, I'll see you in 2 years, we'll have crazy masks on, and everyone will be fighting whether they're vaxxed or not vaxxed, and everyone's not on the same page, and they're scared, and people have died, and just thinking of, all this stuff. I wouldn't have believed that Trump would ever be president if you told me when he was sitting, behind Howie's parents at the Kiss concert at the Garden, when we played there with DJ, we were laughing at this guy for years in New York until he's in there and he's, he's grabbing women's pussies and all that stuff. It's like, wow. And then other people get a lot of heat, but this guy, So the world was just so wild, and I think the pandemic created kind of a space for things that people were fed up with, to kind of rise up and be in focus and say, hey, we're not fucking tired of this, And so the song's just kind of a snapshot, and it's kind of through the eyes of this particular person, this gal that I dated, Davy, that, where, how we knew each other and what we all want. I think we all striving to overcome crazy shit, and here we're dealing with even more crazy shit and how everybody deals with it to get by. And it says, I know you wanted more, this time.
Yeah. It's got great lyrics to it. It's such an awesome song all the way around. Talk to me about the single that you just released, Tall Black Horses.
Tall Black Horses was, one of these songs that we had. I must have wrote it 10 years ago or something, and I was recently talking to somebody else about this, how songs sometimes need to be born. They're not ready. You have them, and you try them, you demo them, you play them live, and they're not ready to happen. And some people move on, and I carry songs around if I think that they have potential. We haven't gotten them right. And that happened with me and Derek when we were making the record with Lucinda, Sunset Kids. I had a song called Promises, and it almost made it on every record of mine since Fine Art of Self-Destruction, but I never could get it right. Didn't happen on The Heat. And I think we had Phil Lesh on bass. Didn't happen on Glitter. Didn't happen on Love It to Life. And then Derek was like, no, now's the time for Promises. And he was right. And with Tall Black Horses, I was ready to give up on it. But Derek and some of my other friends, Don DeLego, songwriter, keep working, don't just record that song. So I think it just sonically came together finally as it was its time. And Derek and Jeff Sanoff, who worked on the record as well, just kind of made it into a new sonic landscape or whatever, a place that I'd never really been on my records. And so I'm happy with that one. Lyrically, I think the main theme of that is that if you have things that you're insecure about or things that, you fear, and instead of being beaten down by them, like, turn it up extra loud and just be yourself and, ride on through. I think of when I was a kid, like Elton John, you read his book and you realize he's this weird guy and he doesn't feel like he looks like a rock star. So take your things, your weaknesses, and blow them up and make them bigger, like get crazy wigs and crazy glasses and sparkly outfits or dress up like a duck.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, let's talk about the song. For people who haven't heard it yet, but it's called Backstabbers on the record.
Yeah, Backstabbers is just autobiographical, growing up in the city, being very curious to go from a borough like Queens, New York, suburbs, middle-class town, to the city as a kid. And probably mostly because of music or movies, some sex, they had peep shows. And I would go play pinball in this place, Playland, at Times Square, after I'd buy like guitar strings at the Manny's Music. And I'd be playing like video games and pinball, and these men would be coming up to me, and I didn't know why. I was like, what's going on? I didn't realize there was like these men cruising. It was called Chicken Hawks or something, and I didn't know what was going on until it was like, luckily nothing bad happened. But it used to be like a city like that. You'd be waiting for a bus, at night, and the payphone would ring. Why is that payphone ringing? You'd pick it up, and a guy would say, look up, and you'd look up, be a guy in a window touching himself or something. And I guess more adventurous kids with more open minds would come up. Oh, come up. I'm not going up there.
Yeah.
I wish this bus better get here. But, cars would, I'd go into shows in the city. I started going to clubs at 12 years old, and I would go into the city, and then I'd wait for the bus at night, and all that. Cars would cruise by real slow. But I remember I wanted to, to see, like, the body naked and sex, and it was always the mystery dance, like Elvis Costello says. All the movies I grew up with were about sex and violence in the 70s, and all my friends in Queens, they were like disco boys, and they were talking about having fun, and I felt like, I was missing out. I was like this freak punk guy that used to like Kiss. Nobody wanted to know from me. The girls, ooh, you're gross. I'd be like, okay. Yeah. But so I just felt like I was missing out. So when I went to Manny's Music to buy guitar strings, around the corner they had peep shows. And nobody asked how old you were. You just put a quarter in. A window went up, and there's naked people in there, women. And one day I looked, and it was the gay place next door. And then there was the straight place, like less gals. And there was I said, I'll go in the straight place. I don't really need to see any more penises. Okay. And I go into the straight one, straight, whatever. And there's men walking around, coming close to me, and I'm like, I'm in the straight place. And 14 years old. Now I get it, how it works. I have some friends that like to go to the straight place. But now it's all mixed in. But the song is about being curious and things that happen and people trying to suck your spirit and your blood. And that's just one verse there, the peep show verse, the chicken hawk verse. I didn't know when I was a kid, you'd watch that cartoon, the Looney Tunes, and it was that Foghorn Leghorn. I'll tell you, boy, do this, boy. I'll tell you, boy. There's a chicken hawk. All right. Come on here, boy. Bend over. I'll drive.
Jesse, one of my favorite stories is, and I'd love to hear it again because for some people that haven't heard it before, it's the first time you got to play Madison Square Garden. It's such, I just love it. It's such a great story because it's one of those.
Let me get some water here. Hold on. I'm getting a call. Hold on.
Okay, you got it. Jesse, be back in a minute. There he goes. But
product placement here.
Yeah.
So wait, we're in Ventura for you guys. We're here on We're in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Or we are here.
Yeah, here we are.
Okay, and then we're playing the See Here Now festival. Okay, I'm just going to get it
Yes,
right.
he's gonna they're playing the See Her Now Festival with special guests. It's going to be happening in Jersey in the Asbury Park area.
I'm just trying to get all the spots together, but this is rolling live. So
Yeah, rolling live,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, all right.
story is
So
amazing.
Kiss at the Garden. I guess if you grow up in New York or anywhere, it's like a dream to play Madison Square Garden. I didn't really grow up with my dad, but when I started to make music, because he kind of liked music, I'd be like, Dad, we sold out CBGB's 3 nights. Come down. Yeah, I'll go see you when you play the Garden. When I was a little kid, Kiss was my favorite band. The first time I went on stage was a talent show in, I don't know, 5th grade, and I had spit ketchup like blood, like Gene Simmons, and whatever. And so I would have did anything for Kiss. We bought every magazine, everything. It was first concert was the Garden. Kiss, like, I don't know, Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer, one of those tours. So it was in there, I was in the Kiss Army, I was a card-carrying member. So now it's like 20 years later, we're signed to Columbia Records. D-Generation just made a record with Rick Ocasek from the Cars. It was so much fun, and we got this album, No Lunch, and we go out to eat with our management and our label, and we've got a big meeting, got this tour, and we're going to give you this great news. And I'm like, all right, that's okay. Going on tour with Kiss. I'm like, oh, now I'm older and I'm jaded. And I'm like, so I look at the itinerary, Madison Square Garden, okay. And it's not just Kiss, looking all ugly without makeup. It's Ace and Peter. It's the reunion tour. So they're back. It's like 1977 every night on stage. That's the set list. And we go out, and we're pretty excited to do this. And I think the first night was Cleveland. And we're a club band, so we didn't really know how to play into arenas. They're booing us, but I thought they're going, Bruce. No, but they're going, boo. And we figured out how to play to the crowd by, a few weeks in. And every night you watch the show, but they say the same things every night. How you doing? And do it. And, and after a while, we're like just done with it, But they're very nice to us. But they would have a lot of rules. Like I would make a mess with newspaper, and they'd be like, that was a fire hazard. And we took some salami and some deli tray and just like threw it on the wall. They said, you trashed the dressing room. You're getting thrown off the tour. I'm like, really? Okay, I think I threw a piece of salami on a wall. But so we got to New York. We were so excited. All our parents came, and it's the big night at the Garden. And they were all excited, and they have new rules because the Garden. So once you're done D-Generation, my band, you got to get out of here. There's no backstage. There's no dressing room. You got to go get out of here. So I was like, I don't care. I just played the Garden. I don't want to watch do it, again. And but and we go, and of course, like I said, Howie Pyro, my bass player, his parents turn around. They got better seats than Donald Trump. They're psyched. My grandfather, my father's there. And I get kicked out of the dressing room, and I have my laminate with Kiss credentials, and I drank Rolling Rock beer at the time. It was because it had spring water. I thought it was healthy.
From Latrobe.
From Old Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like going to go down to this club, Coney Island High, that I own, and I'm going to go celebrate. I'm going to St. Mark's Place. I'm walking out of the Garden with my friend, and I got the Rolling Rock, and we're not even on the street under like this pavilion. We're not even on 7th Avenue. I'm just under this pavilion piece of the Garden, and these cops roll up on me, and it was Giuliani time. It was like cabaret laws and all this. Open container, you're going to go to jail. And I'm like, I'm a New Yorker. I just waited my whole life to play the Garden. Here's my laminate. Here's like Gene Simmons. Here's me, my name. Like handcuffs, 2 days in the Tombs. It was, I went to jail. I have no police record, but I had an open container, and that was it. But I got to play the Garden. So,
Yeah, but that's
and
crazy.
our name was on the marquee.
Yeah, that's amazing though. The
Do
Tombs.
it!
Do it. When I think of the Tombs, not only from walking by those down there in Chinatown, but I also think of Jim Carroll. Selling the Tombs, the lyrics of people who died.
Oh, yeah.
So you actually know what that's like.
He beat the rap by ratting on some bikers. I thought he said he beat the rap by rapping on some rabbis or something. But, yeah, Jim Carroll. But the Tombs, it's scary when they keep taking you down, and then you're in these bullpen places, and there's like guys in suits that like got busted at Washington Square trying to buy like a joint, and they're like, corporate guys. And then there's guys coming down off like crazy crack, and we're all in these cells together, and you kind of become friends. It's like, you start going, hey, we're going to make a band. And you find ways to get by. Then once you get out of there, you're like, see ya. I created a fantasy to get by with all the guys, these drug dealers from Washington Square Park. There's a falafel place on McDougal Street. I was like, we're going to go to Mamoon's Falafel. And they were like, yeah. And it's like survival. And I wasn't going to eat anything. They got one toilet in the middle of the room, this tiny room, no door, no paper, nothing. And they're feeding you. I'm like, I'm not eating nothing. I'm not going near that. It was a payphone. I made a collect call, and I had nobody answered, and that was it. But but you get out, you're in the Tombs, you're near Chinatown, and you could go to Wohop Chinese food, and that's why they're open 24 hours, because people, corrections workers getting out, and
it's true.
They need to get some lo mein.
Or that noodle shop on the Bowery right there, right? The one that's right there, Bowery and Elizabeth.
The
anyway,
Tombs.
I just I'm really excited. We're just going to quickly, I'd like to talk to Derek and talk about making the record before the performance. Could you tell me about the process of making the album this time around?
He's in the Paul Schaefer position right here, right now.
Yeah, by the way.
Jules Holland here.
Yes.
Well, we going back to first Tall Black Horses, because that song, you had that when I first met you.
Yeah.
That was like the first song we ever worked on together. That, and I think Bar Life. But yeah, making the record, we spent a majority of the time during the pandemic, just crafting these songs with Jeff Sanoff, the engineer. Fantastic. So going through the process of trying to just really pull out the songs. Your lyrics are so good, Jesse. That's something I really love about,
Absolutely.
Well, Jesse, what would you say your favorite track was on the record to do?
On this record?
Yeah.
I don't know. It changes often, I think. I think every day it's a little different. But I like Greener Pastures a lot, which opens the record. And it's a mellow song. We decided to make it weird. Where the song we closed the shows with on the live stream, we opened the album with. But that one, I like St. Christopher, that ends the record, and A Little Death, which is like a kind of a disco song. My first, Derek came over the house and to inspire me to write in different ways. If I don't have my guitar on and I just freeform melodies and he gives me chords or beats, you go into a different place and you're kind of leading and guiding each other in a strange way. When you sit down with an instrument and you're aware of the chords and your mind might go in similar places melodically, but with other sounds affecting you, it's like when I first got a capo or a different tuning, it makes you write differently or sing differently. And so he came over and he had this beatbox thing and he's playing this bass line and we created this song and it had like a heart of glass kind of thing to it, I guess I have to admit. But we looked at, he goes, oh, what's the drum program called I used? And it was called Nicky Disco. So that became the name of the song for a while. But then when we got the album together, I decided I wanted to change the title because I didn't want people to consider it a disco song. If you say it's disco, then they're really going to... Where I grew up, they said disco sucks, but I like disco. Yeah. I even like Saturday Night Fever.
You got the Bee Gees, come on.
Yeah. But, so many things. I mean, it's just interesting. I think The Way We Used to Roll, which is the song we play a lot live that was done earlier during a couple songs we had from the Lucinda Sunset Sessions, but they weren't ready to happen yet either. It was fun to go back to some of those. But I love your guitar playing on that song, on The Way We Used to Roll a lot. That's one of my favorite things that you've played.
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
See, Derek can play a lot of different instruments, so he can jump around, and play bass, or he's done that, play some piano, as he'll do today, and then guitar, and just to have that where somebody can just create different backgrounds for you to come up with melodies and lyrics and stuff.
Well, like you were saying, with different, when you aren't playing the guitar and you're writing, you're just singing. It's the same thing for me, I figure, with different instruments. I think differently, like playing a bass line on that Nicky Disco track, or, the piano in Tall Black Horses, that ascending thing.
You got to do different things to inspire yourself. Sometimes you put on that funny suit and whatever, But like it was that, and then Rob came over a little bit to my house, and he never did it. I'm like, we're just gonna jam. We're gonna write a song, and he's like, this is weird. You're singing all these weird words, and all this stuff's happening real fast, and you're recording it, and you're just like, keep going. But I was like, you'll see, because me and Derek had been doing it for a while, that he kind of understands, and I kind of understand where it's gonna go, and then suddenly. The beauty is you can go into like a telepathic place where you kind of, I don't know, you find each other where you're going to go down, and when it works, it's nice. we'll record all this and then listen back and then cherry pick. Oh yeah, there's the song. Like there's the verse, there's the chorus, and then we put it together. I was hearing that about this band. You probably like them. I like them. The War on Drugs.
Yeah.
The guy goes in the studio and just like jams all this stuff, and then the producer just takes pieces of it and then says, here's the song, and then put the words to it.
I mean,
That's a story. I don't know if that's really how it goes.
That
Probably
until
true.
recently.
I mean, the Stones did that too, like songs like "Bitch" on Sticky Fingers, right? That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It's in the middle of a jam they've been playing for a while. All of a sudden they cut, boom, right?
Splice in the right spots.
Chop-
And
chop
so
it up.
even with the songs like Tall Black Horses on the album, or something that's been Promises on Sunset, but we were kids, we'd hear like Tattoo You, like Start Me Up. They had that song 10 years ago. And in those days, 10 years seemed like
A lifetime.
ages.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I was into Kiss in 1977, of course I was 10 years old, so I'm giving my age to you guys, but Sgt. Pepper was 10 years before that, 1967. That seemed like Benjamin Franklin to me. And it's not because I was 10. It was because so much happened. But 10 years ago, we're still playing the same songs. It's like at a certain point, music evolved, but it was so much more stuff. Like Suicide came out in the early 70s, and people are still catching up to that shit. Like it's still ahead, But yeah, from Kiss in 1977 to Sgt. Pepper, I was like, that felt like 100 years.
Yeah. Well, so much changes when you're a kid. When you're a teenager, like every year feels like a whole different era. I mean, But listen, Jesse, I'm going to let you play. This is like us hanging out because this is what he and I would do. We'd go out to dinner and just talk about music, songs, life.
He turned me on to a good Thai place in Midtown that I still go to. It survived the pandemic. Pan Sri.
Palm Tree is still there. It's
Yeah.
great.
We would go there before gigs at the Roseland.
Yeah.
But Matt is great because he's mellow today. I'm talking a lot, but this guy knows so fucking much. I mean, I tell you what the Butterfly Collector on the jam, like the B-side, and I always watch when I see him interview people, like him blow their minds. Like he'll take any artist and go in and he knows everything, and he knows the year where they recorded it, and they don't even know. And it's been going on since we met him, and it's really great. Your passion and you're looking so healthy. So.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm almost 16 months sober now, which is great.
Yeah, congrats.
That's how we need you, Matt. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Congrats.
it, Jesse. It's so great to see you, man, and I'm excited to hear you and Derek, but I'm pumped about the new album. Stuff sounds so great. So thanks for coming and doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks to Rolling Live for keeping us alive during the last pandemic.
Yeah, you got it.
Hopefully we won't have to go back in. And thanks to you guys for coming down here.
Thanks to everybody for coming out.
So
All right, I'm going
we're
to give it
gonna-
up for Jesse and Derek right now. They're going to do a set for everybody. Thanks so much for watching us, too, on Rolling Live.
Dry from the pills. My mouth's a little dry from the vitamins, All right, let's. Speaking of songs, put the smoke on. Well, this one is off Sunset Kids. This is called Chemical Heart. They say you got a chemical heart. You try to prove it different is the hardest part. They say it's on the tip of your tongue. You've been making up excuses since you were young. I don't wanna be your babysitter. I don't wanna be your 5 a.m. I don't wanna be your Jake LaMotta. I don't wanna date your ex-best friend. You're standing on the edge of the world. You're walking down the street like you're this year's girl. I'm calling it a chemical crime. You got a lot of nothing, but it's 999. Singing na na na, singing na na na. I don't wanna be your Ike and Tina. I don't wanna be your remote control. I don't wanna be your Bernie Taupin. I don't wanna be your stepping stone. They say you got a chemical kiss. You're breaking down the alleys to get your fix. You're looking like a knife in the heart. Wishing that it's different is the hardest part. Singing na na na, singing na na na.
Another baby sleeping on the floor, a permanent vacation crying in the shower stall. I don't wanna be your ivory tower, I don't wanna be your broken home, I don't wanna be your plastic surgeon, I don't even wanna walk you home. They say you got a chemical heart, we try to prove it different is the hardest part. I'm calling it a chemical crime. You got a lot of nothing, but it's mine, mine, mine. Singing la, la, la. Singing la, la, la. Singing la, la, la. Singing la, la, la. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. What should we do? We don't really have a
Maybe we
set
do that
list.
that single. That
You got a request, all right,
Uh-huh.
from the record store sidelines. What are you requesting? Oh my Lord. We just re-recorded that actually. Maybe we'll get to it. All right, let me loosen up my dance belt a little and then see how it feels. Yeah. That one will work. I think that. Derek, how are you with the Broken Radio song?
I think I'm all right.
You're all right. I'm gonna do. Yeah, let's do. We're gonna do one off the new record. This is a single that's been out that Matt and I were talking about.
Yeah.
And once I tune this flossing with a G string, you guys ever done that? I'm tuning it up. This one is called State of the Art. You ready, boys?
Staring at the window inside right on, I've been thinking about the world where I've been and gone. Rolling like a river that heads upstream. I hear happier now since you got clean. They put you through the paces when you were young, and they still drink the Kool-Aid back where you come from. You walked around town with your collar up. You never got off on that racist stuff. We're living in the state of the art. I'm trying not to take it too hard while everything is falling apart. I know you wanted more this time. Oh, it's been a while since I heard from you. I know you don't like talking when you're feeling blue. I think I'll get it, man, 'cause I'm the same when everybody else is trying to kill the pain. I heard you called your sister from a holding cell, and your friends from the protest, they all wish you well. Another broken system and some killer cops. I read the papers and I cried a lot. We're living in the state of the art. I'm trying not to take it too hard while everything is falling apart. I know you wanted more this time. You always saw the sadness behind my jokes, while all your other friends were busy blowing smoke. Rolling with the punches in the world of lies, with Johnny on the jukebox singing Born to Cry. Like a faded picture of a starless night, oh, your dead heroes couldn't get it right. You found a silver lining as the thunder rolls. Well, the night is dark, but the moon is gold. We're living in the state of the art. I'm trying not to take it too hard while everything is falling apart. I know you wanted more. I know you wanted more. We all want something more this time.
going to do a song that I was talking about seeing the last Tom Petty show at the Hollywood Bowl out here. And this was a song that he played that night. And I decided to do a cover of it because just something about it, I don't know, the lyrics, it just inspired me. Uh-oh, going crazy here. Is that right? All right, we'll see in a second. I feel like I'm back in my house again here. Hello, you guys out there? Yeah. All right, there's people here. Well, this one is off the Wildflowers record, but my version is actually on the Sad and Beautiful World album, too.
Something sounds right. Sounds like Sonic Youth right now.
Try that again.
Waiting by the side of the road for day to break so we could go down into Los Angeles with dirty hands and worn out knees. Oh, I keep crawling back to you. I keep crawling back to you. A ranger came with burning eyes. The chambermaid woke surprised. Thought she'd seen the last of him. She shook her head and let him in. I keep crawling back to you. I keep crawling back to you. Hey baby, there's something in your eyes trying to say me that I'm gonna be alright if I believe in you. It's all I want to do. Well, it was me and my sidekick. He was drunk, I was sick. We got caught up in a ballroom fight till in the end shot out the light. I'm so tired of being tired. Sure as night will follow day. Most things that I worry about never happen anyway. Oh, I keep crawling back to you. voices in the hall. I'm making up my own scene, hanging out in room 13. I pull down the blackout shade and watch the TV start to fade. Deadbolt on the lock, and I'll unplug the digital clock. Well, I spent some time in a hotel room thinking about love, and I walked away like those others do. Oh, when it's not enough, the walls are paper thin, in the seam everybody sins. All the liquor stores are closed, and I'm sleeping with the ghosts. Well, I spent some time in a hotel room thinking about love, and I walked away like those others do. Oh, when it's not enough, I just wanna do the right thing, but I get dragged down on the wrong side. The girl on the telephone, she asked me when I'm coming home, and I'm falling somewhere in between what she says and what she means. It was something that was said before the phone went dead, like the sound of the falling rain and the rumble of a train. Well, I spent some time in a hotel room thinking about love, and I walked away like those others do. Oh, when it's not enough, thinking about love, thinking about love, thinking about love. If I should fall from the gray sky when no doctor can relieve me, buried beneath the sand where the angels will receive me, let me go, boys, let me go, boys, let me go down the mud where the rivers all run dry. Land was the way as ours was the proud land of our fathers, belongs us and them, not to any of the others. Let me go, boys, let me go, boys, let me go down the mud where the rivers all run dry. Oh! Bury me at sea where no murder ghost can haunt me. Rock upon the waves where the angels sleep upon me. Coming up for ease, boys, coming up for ease, boys. Let me go down the mud where the rivers all run dry. Go again, oh! If I should fall from the gray sky where no doctor can relieve me, bury me beneath the sand, where the angels will receive me. Let me go, boys, let me go, boys. Let me go down on board where the rivers all run dry. I shoot far from the gray sky where no doctor can relieve me. Beneath the sand, where the angels will receive me. Let me go, boys, let me go, boys. Let me go down on board where the rivers all run dry.
I told you if we played the Mumford and Sons thing, they'd like that one. Yeah. All right, this is off Sad and Beautiful World. We've only done it like this at my kitchen rehearsal, but this is a song we were talking about before. Todd Youth.
I was out of time and out of body on a Saturday night. Well, my phone kept ringing, but my heart had stopped. I really didn't wanna go. Well, I never had nothing. I never had much. I never had reason, man, to tell you that I keep in touch. And it's a long way back to a sunset city. I made my bed, I don't want no pity. I never say goodbye, it just ends. Well, I sold my records and my last guitar on a night so dark I couldn't see the stars. Next thing I knew I was leaving this Babylon. And it's a long way back to a sunset city. I made my bed, I don't want no pity. I never say goodbye, it just ends. And it's a mean old world, I'm slipping through society. Boys and girls of the devil's new economy, looking out for the light up ahead. Sailing on, sailing on, sailing on. Well, people talking about me, what I did and could have done. Like sand through my fingers, a poison in my blood. Send my love to my daughters, they did nothing wrong. Even Babylon, I'm sailing on. It's a long way back to a sunset city. I made my bed, I don't want no pity. I never say goodbye, it just ends. And the ashes burn, but my soul's delivered. From Tompkins Square to a holy river, I never say goodbye, it just ends. Sailing on, sailing on, sailing on, sailing on. And it's a mean old world, mean old world, mean old world. Oh, bye-bye.
Derek Cruz. Youth want music, yeah. You guys okay? All right. Let's try another one like this. I like doing the songs that aren't meant to be played like this without the band. I gotta check this tuning out a little bit here. Check that out there. All right, let's try on one from New York before the war. It's called Turn Up the Mains. 2, 3, 4.
me by. Oh, come on, everybody's got a lot to say. Come on, when you wanna blow it all away. Come on, right now I can't feel no pain. Come on, kick the system and turn at the mains. And I feel okay, and I feel okay. I don't feel. Your cards are stacked and you're on your back. Man, you've never been denied. You're feeling sore, but you want some more. Right, Sally, right. Oh, come on, everybody's got a lot to say. Come on, when you wanna blow it all away. Come on, right now I can't feel no pain. Come on, kick the system and turn at the mains. And I feel okay, and I feel okay. I don't feel. That's Derek Cruz on the piano and guitar. We're down here in Studio City, Los Angeles.
Live.
Live, yeah, this is going out live, baby. Rolling live. Rolling bowling. That's the way an all the story goes. Between your fire and the afterglow. I don't believe in what the good book says. I close my eyes and then I go to bed. Funny memories and a broken nose. Lots of baggage and not much clothes. The shrink, the gypsy, the poet, the priest. Everybody wants to be released, and I know time was gonna change us. So life would rearrange us. Lately it's alright down here with me. People at midnight pretend they're free. Maybe it's all gone. Well, I'm holding on. You know it ain't so funny after all. Oh, it ain't so funny after all we've been through. Oh, it ain't so funny after all. That's the way you know the story goes. A box of flowers decompose. You and me, you know we don't talk much. It's hard to handle something you can't touch. And I know time was gonna change us. Lately it's alright carefree. Maybe it's all gone. Well, I'm holding on. And now as I know, the future's black as coal. And now as I see, if you were still with me. Down to the sea, down here with me,
This one as a request. Tell me your name. Addie from the Bronx. This goes out to Addie from the Bronx, who's here live in person. Maddie. All right. I can't hear you talking to a mask. You know, I don't. That's the right way to do it, I guess. No, you didn't start that thing, right? I thought that pandemic came out of the COVID came from the Bronx, right? Yeah, Fort Apache, right? Oh boy, Derek, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Feeling all right with the crew. What
Yeah.
we gonna shop here after we got the Garden
Yeah,
State
right.
soundtrack. That was the only living boy in New Jersey. Oh, that was a Paul Simon song I liked.
I was going through some of
Oh,
the
yeah.
records. There were some good ones.
Big Cash is here tonight with us.
A lot of
Johnny
Bowie.
Cash. Well, this is the first song on the record, Sunset Kids, and I don't know. I think we recorded this one with them in New York, actually. Not
Yeah.
in L.A., not in.
But
in
also,
Hollywood.
also California-based, was written in California.
In California on the tour with Alejandro. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Maddie, meet me at the end of the world. Again, 2, 3.
Well, I'm up on 24th Street and I'm looking at a life. Standing on the corner watching people passing by. I used to be somebody, man, I used to be someone. I'm beating like a bullet in the chamber of a gun. I said, hey, tell me what you gonna do now. You're acting like you've never been had. They're saying it's the end of the world again. When it all blows up and it all goes down and it makes you sick, but you're still around and you ain't too pure, you ain't too proud. When it all blows up and it all goes down, coffee is descending in the middle of the night. I'm standing by the speakers and I somehow feel alright. This girl's on Lower Broadway in the summer and the smoke. I feel I'm at the wrong end man of someone else's joke. I said, hey, tell me what you want me to do. I feel like I got nowhere to go. Meet me at the end of the world again. When it all blows up and it all goes down and it sucks your soul, but you hang around. You ain't too poor, you ain't too proud. When it all blows up and it all goes down. lovesick town when it all blows up, when it all goes down, and your late-night friends don't come around. The time is right, the time is now, when it all blows up, and it all goes down. Police. Come on, Maddie, say hi to everybody. You wanted that because come out here. Tell everybody about the Bronx and.
I only liked Jesse for about a year. I don't 5 minutes according to everybody else. And I had tickets to go. I had tickets to go see you in Leeds, and tickets to go to the Stone Pony. Except I can't fly the mask on, so we're still working out the logistics. I missed him last night again. I missed him last year at the Hotel Cafe. So thank you, Rolling Live. I cannot believe when I woke up this morning, I'm like, are they kidding me? I didn't even enter correctly. You have 2 things to do. I only did 1 on Instagram.
And you made it here.
I did. Anyway, I love Jesse!
It's like the Uncle Floyd show. We're here again. Give me a guitar. This is called Strangers and Thieves. We don't get to play this one last night, so. We were strangers and thieves, leaving tags and graffiti smoke screens, stealing candy from arcades. What the hell, we're only 15. Walk on from a place we never came from. Walk on and answer to no one. I've been thinking about you lately. In the tenements of life, I never really had a family. It's alright, I really could use a friend. Looking back on a fanzine, from warehouse walls to bedroom communities, burning down the arcade, urban gardens and homesick holidays. Walk on from a place we never came from. Walk on and answer to no one. I've been thinking about you lately. I'm lost and I'm lonely in the tenements of life. I never really had a family. It's alright, I really could use a friend. We were strangers and thieves, dancing in a house of conspiracy. We were nervous energy, urban noise and ten-ring pipe dreams. I've been thinking about you lately. I'm lost and I'm lonely in the tenements of life. Well, I never really had a family. alright. I really could use a friend. Robbing banks in America, robbing banks in American times, robbing banks in America, robbing banks in American time. Well, thanks for coming out. We just got 2 more, and thanks for watching. Yeah, Matt Pinfield. It was always great to see Matt. I don't know what's going on. We're live, so I guess this is it. You know, we got to dig in. This one's off my first record, The Fine Art of Self-Destruction. Live here in Studio City. I got to meet my friend Carrie Brown. We only met on Zoom, and Zoom is a weird thing. People are suing each other over Zooms. They do weird things. And when we first got on Zoom, I didn't know how to work any of this shit, and I had a meeting with the Rolling Live people. I think they were called something else at the time. And they said, be careful when you're done. Make sure you really shut it off, because a girl went into the bathroom. I was like, all right, I'll make sure I shut this thing off. I don't want to be on the Chuck Berry network. Anyway, this one is called Wendy. Wendy left me alone. No postcard or telephone. Winter time down by the beach. A jukebox bar way out of reach. She liked Tom Waits and the Poets' Hat, 60s Kinks and Kerouac. Through the night her taillights fade, her selection never played. I don't know why, chicken the tears and the light in your eye. I don't know, my little babe, I wanted to go. One day took me with a smile, country lips and because style. Through Tangiers, flavor to Bombay, a self-portrait in the USA. I don't know why, chicken the tears and the light in your eye. I don't know, my little baby, I wanted to go. Dreams dying slowly, we don't want to be alone. Dreams dark and lonely, we don't want to be alone. Baby, alone, leave me alone. One day, let down. One day, come on, get down. I I'm a broken artist and it really didn't go as planned. She's an apparition and she dreams of a foreign land. There's a world outside if you want it. There's a world outside you can know. There's a world outside. Well, I'm up the junction and I'm running out of PMA. She can keep a secret even better than the CIA. There's a world outside if you want it. There's a place in the stars and the soul. There's a world outside. Oh, Sheena, we can make it together. Oh, Sheena, we can't make it alone. Well, she paints a picture that nobody understands. She's infatuated with the songs of the dead and damned. When it all goes down on a corner in a sad and beautiful world, it's a place in time. Oh, Sheena, we can make it together. Oh, Sheena, we can make it alone. Come on, Derek. Well, I went to see her and I didn't know what to say. On a silver landing coming over the Jamaica Bay. When it all goes down on a corner in a sad and beautiful world, it's a place in time. Oh, Sheena, we can make it together. Oh, Sheena, we can make it alone. Oh, Sheena, we can make it together. Oh, Sheena, we can make it alone. All right, thank you so much. This is the last one, and this is how we closed a lot of those streams from Rolling Live that we were doing. It's called Greener Pastures. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming by. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you. I don't know where our next stop is. Stone Pony. You got to get there. Put the mask on and breathe in. Get on the plane. I watched 4 movies on JetBlue the other day. The Harry Chapin documentary, Wigstock from 1995. Howie Pyro was in there, and Mistress Formica. I watched Adventureland. You ever see that movie, Matt Pinfield? Adventureland with Jesse Eisenberg. It opens up with Bastards of Young, and it has Satellite of Love played in there a lot. Yeah, it was good, right? It's fucking really good. I learned a lot about Harry Chapin. I only knew that how, Cats in the Cradle and how he died on the LIE in a Volkswagen Bug, but there's a lot more to him. Did a lot for world hunger and still does. And then I watched some Billy Crystal movie that he wrote and directed. I didn't get through it because he had dementia, and then we landed. It's about an old guy. Comedy. Wasn't so funny. Anyway, enough chatter. I'm going to play the bits and see you guys soon. Adios. Shazbot. Nanu. Nanu. 3, 4. Waking up in Dallas, and the lights are low and dim. We all want somewhere to begin. I sent for my prescription, but it hasn't shown up yet. I'll know the feeling when it does. A greener pastures always wait for you. Tell the story one more time. What you ask for, starry-eyed and blue. You can make it if you try. I went to see a movie that everybody liked. It made me wish I was a better guy. I'm waiting on a vision, but it hasn't shown up yet. We all know the river's gonna rise. A greener pastures always wait for you. Tell the story one more time. What you ask for, starry out and blow. You can make it if you try. I lost a friend this morning. Well, I just saw them last week. This fragile world, so bittersweet. I'm waiting on an answer, but it hasn't shown up yet. We all want a reason to believe. A greener pastures always wait for you. You can make it tonight. La la